Hello friends, welcome back to my AWS Kubernetes video series. Now we are in part 2 video. Before starting into this session, right, I would like to thank to the people, those whoever gave me the great response for my part 1 video, okay, which make me to create a part 2 video as soon as possible. Okay, in today's part 2 session, we are going to discuss about EKS architecture. Okay, and guys, we'll quickly move on to the session. So before moving on, right, I'll need to recall the part 1. Okay, what are the things we have completed? So first thing, there are some pre-requirement in order to learn the Kubernetes. First thing, which is hypervisor. There are two categories of hypervisors available. We should aware about those concepts. One is hosted hypervisor and bare metal hypervisor. Quickly, the second thing, which is Docker. Docker is another container-based orchestration tool where we are using before introducing Kubernetes. Okay, after that there is something called on-premises Kubernetes. Nowadays only people like AWS, Azure, GCP, they integrated their particular Kubernetes as one of the service. Earlier we have a Kubernetes which is there in the on-prem. Okay, so anyway, today we are going to discuss about EKS architecture. Okay, so if anybody having any doubt on the prerequisites like hypervisor or Docker or on-premises Kubernetes, whatever, please refer my old video. I mentioned the link of my previous video in my description. You can go ahead, you can refer the part 1 video. After that, you guys can start studying this particular video. Okay, fine guys. So this is something EKS architecture. Okay, you can see generally when it comes to an Kubernetes, there is something high availability by default. Okay, what does mean by high availability? If something happened to one of my hardware, there is some secondary hardware will be there as a backup. Okay, so it can tolerate the fault. Okay, fault tolerance will be there. So what happens here? I'm taken node 1, node 2, node 3. I'm created a node group here. In this node group, in this cluster node group, I have taken node 1, node 2, node 3. So this is nothing but our EC2 instance, guys. The node 1, node 2, node 3, everything is our EC2 instance. On top of it, we have to install some operating system. So when in terms of operating system, AWS is providing EKS optimized AMI. Okay, you can find many operating system from AWS, which in Amazon Linux is there. You can find Ubuntu, you can find RHEL based image, or you can find Windows based image. But when you are coming into EKS concept, you should be aware there is some terminology and there is some concept called EKS optimized image, EKS optimized AMI. So what is the special in EKS optimized AMI? So generally when you want to configure a cluster which is with respect to an EKS Kubernetes cluster, there should be a EKS optimized image should be in place. You cannot configure the Kubernetes cluster with the normal AMI, what we are having when you are creating EC2 instance, right? Generally we will have an AMI. Using that AMI, we cannot provision EKS cluster. There is a dedicated AMI they have been provided. I'll show you how to find out that AMI and where we will get that is coming in upcoming videos. As of now, just understand there is some dedicated AMI available which is calling it as a EKS optimized AMI which has been provided by AWS. Okay, in this layer of operating system, on top of the server, each and every server will be having the operating system. On top of the operating system, when you are installing EKS optimized AMI, by default Kubernetes service is running. Okay, when you are installing EKS optimized AMIs, on top of it, by default Kubernetes service is running. Okay, on top of the Kubernetes only, we are deploying our containers. In Kubernetes, people used to call it as a pods. Okay, in Docker people used to call it as a container. Here people are used to call it as a pod, but there are some differences there between container and pod. I don't want to make you confused in the beginning itself. We are going to discuss about those things. As of now, consider these as either container or pod. On top of these only we are deploying our application. Okay, this is how EKS architecture has been done. What is the special in that? See, in this example I have taken server 1, I mean node 1, node 2, node 3. Over there, if something happened to one of my server, still I have a redundancy with the two servers. Okay, whatever the application I deployed in this container, right, that will be functioning from the other nodes. Okay, still when you are coming to EKS concept, there are some auto scaling concept, everything is there that we are going to discuss. But this is how the EKS has been architectured. Okay, there will be a hardware will be there. Hardware is considered as a node 1 and node 2 and node 3. On top of the hardware, right, we are having something like operating system, which is EKS optimized AMI. So on top of the EKS optimized AMI, we will have by default Kubernetes services in running. On top of it only, we'll deploy our container parts and our application. Okay, this is what the architecture of EKS, guys. So there are some advantages. Okay, when you are comparing on-premises Kubernetes with cloud-based Kubernetes. Okay, AWS is one of the service EKS. What is the advantage when come to a cloud-based Kubernetes? Because future generation, they are completely planning to move their Dockerized or any containerized application into cloud-based Kubernetes. The reason, all the setup is ready-made is available, guys. First point, the ready-made setup is available, which means in order to create Kubernetes on-premises, you need to make sure your physical hardware of the server should be available. You need to install the operating system on top of it. You need to enable the Kubernetes service, everything. But here there is a command. When you are executing the command from AWS EC2 instance, it's provisioning the cluster nodes. It is making use of EC2 instance. It is making use of EC2 instance as a part of your cluster. That is why I am telling ready-made setup is available. Same way for networking, same way for your volumes, everything. The setup is ready-madely available in EC2. It is taking that instance as a node of my Kubernetes cluster. Second thing, there are many versions are there with Kubernetes. When I started my career, right, it was like 1.11 something like that. Now it has been reached 1.17 up to that much version. The upgradation of version, right, the upgraded AMI, the upgraded EKS optimized AMI, everything is taken care by AWS. We don't want to worry about it. Okay, that is what I'm telling. The version update will be taken care by the AWS. And the second thing, auto scaling. What is meant by auto scaling? So we have discussed the architecture of EKS. Out of these three physical server, I mean like EC2 instance 1, 2, 3, if any one goes down due to any operating system corrupted or any hardware failure or any outage happen, whatever, auto scaling will ensure replacement of the particular failure server, guys. The auto scaling will be ensure the replacement of particular failure component. Not only here, the complete in the cluster, whatever node we have, if anything goes down, the auto scaling will be taking care of it. And also, if the utilization of the server goes peak, right, auto scaling will take care of adjusting the utilization by provisioning new instances. Okay, that is very much important and advantage when it comes to only on cloud-based Kubernetes. After that, if you wanted to integrate any of your application with load balancer, until if you go for on-premises, right, it will be very much difficulties. But here, AWS providing you ELB, ALB, many load balancer types are there. You can utilize that. Here itself it's available. And again, coming to monitoring, it's very, very simple. We have a CloudWatch monitoring. We can go with any other monitoring tools available, but maximum, right, as I said, these are the things by default available. These all are the reason, guys, why people are coming from on-premises based Kubernetes concept to cloud-based Kubernetes concept. That is what the main intention. Okay. Hope now we all clear what is the architecture of EKS. After that, why people are allowed to use cloud-based Kubernetes, which is not there in your on-premises. Here it is available as a ready-made. Okay. So this is one, guys, what I want to make sure everyone get clear idea about EKS architecture and why people are allowed to use cloud-based Kubernetes. This is the only reason. So what we can do in part 3 video, I mean from the next video, probably we will going to discuss about EKS service in AWS console. I'm going to open my AWS console. I'm going to show you where the EKS service is available. And also in the next video, we are going to discuss about what is EKS optimized AMI. What is the difference between normal AMI and the EKS optimized AMI, how we can get those detail, everything. Okay. So thank you for watching this video. So action plan, many of them asked me, daily basis we are planning to give one Kubernetes video. So if you will watch this video clearly, right, you will gain, end of the day, you will gain proper Kubernetes idea with respect to an AWS EKS. Okay. So thank you again. Please, if you like this video, please share and like and subscribe our channel. Okay. Thank you all.